Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. Welcome to August, believe it or not, second rendition of the Board of County Commissioners of Sweetwater County, and a stirring rendition it will be today, I am sure. I call this meeting to order, and we do have a quorum present. All of our commissioners are here in chambers with us today. If you would rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then afterwards, please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Commissioners, we have an agenda. What is your pleasure with that agenda?
Mr. Chairman, if I could propose an amendment,
Please.
2 amendments.
Two, what the, okay, go ahead.
Well, it can be in one, I guess. We need a pre-decisional for the Ashley comments.
An executive?
Yes, please.
Mhm.
And then I think we need to have an open discussion about the possibility of hiring a CEO or restructuring any kind of county organization.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wendling.
I think if we're going to have that discussion, we need to have that discussion on the agenda, well advertised, so that the public can tune in if they want to, or at least have that opportunity, rather than be blindsided as a agenda additional item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Shanefield.
I would like to piggyback on what Commissioner Wendling said. I don't believe we are at the place to be able to have a decision or a discussion about that. We don't have numbers. We don't have any other information. And I think that that needs to be presented to the public for their viewing before we even have that discussion, for it to be open to the public.
Thank you. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I didn't mean it as an action item that we voted on. I just think that we should have some general direction as to whether or not we proceed with this at this time or not.
Thank you, Commissioner Tillman. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lloyd.
Yeah, I would agree that it would be good to put it on the next agenda as a full item, but I also think it would be important to at least have a point of clarification to kind of put it out there, because I do think there are some rumblings in the public about it for some reason. And just to clarify the intentions and what is being looked at, and then having a full discussion at the next meeting, I think would be there. But I think a clarification and some just a quick transparency of some of the concepts being tossed about kind of as a teaser conversation would be important.
Thank you. Further discussion? We have a motion and we have a second. Thank you for the discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Then what is your pleasure on the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment.
Which amendment? Please clarify.
2 amendments.
We just voted on that.
Well, did you vote? Or was it an 8 up
I
or
did
down?
vote. Yes,
We voted.
L 3-2.
It failed?
it failed.
Oh, so we need a new amendment to do the pre-decisional on the Ashley National Forest.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Thank you. Approval of our minutes of July 19th, 2020. What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the minutes of 7/19/2022.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion regarding the minutes? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Thank you. On to tab B, acceptance of the bills. Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the county vouchers and warrants, EALs, the abates and rebates and the bonds as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Thank you. We're on to county residents' comments and concerns and the many, many compliments that we get. So I'll open the floor for those. Packed house. All three of you could speak if you wanted. So got time. Anything, Cindy? Nope.
No.
Then we will close the county residents' compliments section of our meeting and move on to tab C. Action items, approval of 2 catering permits for Wes's LLC, DBA Eden Saloon. We'll end there. Miss Lane.
I'll try to think of a key question for
I
you.
brought my stuff. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners. I have 2 permits today to present. The first is for Lane Mitchelson Wedding. It is from, I'll just put the paper down when I do with it. It's an approval of a catering permit for Wes's LLC doing business as Eden Saloon on August 13th for the Lane Mitchelson Wedding at 4039 US Highway North 191 in Farson.
Thank you. Do we need a public hearing for this, right?
No.
No? Okay, just us approval.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, then, questions for Miss Lane? None? Then what is your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I'll make a motion to approve the catering permit for Wes's LLC doing business as Eden Saloon on August 13th, 2022 for Lane Mitchelson Wedding at 4039 US Highway North 191, Farson, Wyoming.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ooh, that was a tight one there. You pick them, Sally. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll say congratulations then to the Lane Mitchelson's wedding party. And all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Miss Lane.
Okay, the second one is an approval of a catering permit for Wes's LLC doing business as Eden Saloon on August 20th, 2022 for the Brian Scores wedding at 4039 US Highway North 191, also in Farson, Wyoming. And just so you know, a catering permit allows the sale of alcoholic liquor and malt beverages for an on-premise consumption at another location.
Thank you. Love is in the air in Farson
Farson.
Eden area. Yes. Any questions for Miss Lane?
I think it is the spelling correct on our agenda. Isn't SKORZ?
They
Is it C or Z?
wrote it out themselves. It's SKORCS on this one.
Oh, I learned something new.
Other questions? What's your pleasure, commissioners?
I would
Mr.
make a motion,
Go ahead, Mary.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I would make the motion
to approve.
to approve.
Awesome. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
On to tab D. Mr. Divas, let's talk about our mill levy approval.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Davis, Sweetwater County Assessor. This is the time of year where we work with the clerk's office to get all of the taxing authority budgets in, the ones that are applying a mill levy to generate their tax revenue. So we compile all that. We do the calculations, getting it ready for the State Board of Equalization to approve, and then getting it in place for the treasurer's office to be able to build the property taxes here in a couple of weeks. We always present this to you and get signatures from all of the commissioners. We've gone through it pretty tightly, and we think our numbers are all good, and we are ready to go with your approval.
Thank you. That is one sweet Excel spreadsheet. I like it.
We've been doing this thing for years. It works really, really well. You know, I keep talking to you guys about the mill levy in Farson and how with their improvement
Yes.
district, things have been, the mill levy is kind of getting kind of crazy. It was actually their improvement district, but their levy actually did go down just a tiny bit this year. The valuation went up, so the mill levy could come down and kind of stayed where it was. So they were just about where they were last year and actually just a hair below. So it was not nearly as tough on the people in Farson this year as it could have been. So that's good news.
Good. And they'll still get the thing paid off eventually.
I think 2024 or 5 was when
Coming,
we're gonna have it
yeah.
paid off. So yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wendling.
yeah, my computer's struggling to get connected to Dave's email with
Would
the
you like to
mill
look at
levy
it?
on it. So
I do have a hard copy. If you want
can
to.
I look at it, please? I looked at it yesterday and that, but I just want to make sure.
Page 3. Other questions for Mr. Davis?
The third page there is the one that requires the signatures of the commissioners.
Okay.
Any
Thank you.
questions?
Or if you just want to use that one for the signature page, that's great.
Any other discussion? What is your pleasure then, commissioners, with our mill levy worksheet?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I would make a motion to approve the mill levy, the 2022 mill levy worksheet as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. The work is good.
Thank
We'll
you.
we'll even sign it.
We'll even get it finished up. then.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nice job. Thank you. Tab E, disbursement of excess 2013 SPT monies. Treasurer Barbudo, welcome aboard.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Back in 2012, Sweetwater County voters approved 2 ballot propositions for a specific purpose tax. And that tax ran its course in 2018, I believe was the last disbursement in April of that year. But since that time, vendors have continued to report special purpose tax that they collected during that time, and they've made amendments to those reports on occasion too. So we do still sometimes receive money from the Department of Revenue from that time period. And sometimes, depending on how those reports are amended, we owe money back to the Department of Revenue regarding this 2013 specific purpose tax. But the main point is that this fund has been building up after the final disbursement. We separated the accounts from the 10 original into 2, those that are municipalities and the county. And so what we'd like to do now, because you can see on the memo I shared with you, that grew to $169,123.17. We'd like to disperse all but 10,000 of that. And we have actually dispersed that all but 10,000 to the municipalities and to the county. The reason I'm here today is because some of those funds that were part of the county sponsored projects would go to Sweetwater, Memorial Hospital, Sweetwater County, and Castle Rock Hospital District. And that'll take an action to disperse those funds to them from the Board of County Commissioners.
So have all the others been
Those, yeah,
dispersed?
those
Just
have been
needed.
dispersed. So this, all the municipalities should have received their checks by now.
I mean, not massive amounts, but hey,
No.
it's better than knowing, right?
Right. Now, and the 10,000, the alternative to keeping that is that if we could disperse that along with the rest, but if there is a refund request from the Department of Revenue, which is not unheard of and has been large numbers at times, we'd have to go back to all these municipalities and ask them to give some of that money back. And so I think this is probably the better course of action, to keep some of that in reserve in case of those refund requests. And then in about 12 months' time, I think we revisit this, look where we're at and see what the frequency of both what we receive and what we have to refund has been. And then hopefully get rid of the rest of that money and close those accounts.
Very good.
Any questions?
Questions for Mr. Barbudo?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield?
I don't have a question. I just want to make it very clear to the public that in the resolution that was approved on the ballot by the taxpayers, by the voters, it does spell out how these funds are supposed to be used. So they should be used for the construction, operation, equipment, maintenance of the specified project. So any of this additional overage amount is to go back to those projects for the maintenance and the upkeep, any equipment, anything like that, that perhaps wasn't taken care of. I just wanted that to be very clear, because it's not as though we're collecting extra money and using it for something random or putting it into a general fund. It does have to go directly back into the maintenance of those specific projects that were completed, that were approved by the voters on the ballot.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Tolman?
that was my same concern, that maybe you send a letter and tell them that that money must be spent on the specified project, because I had heard some complaints that some of the smaller ones had not done that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Tolman, yeah, and the memorandum I sent to all the municipalities includes that language
Okay.
from that original resolution that the state's just basically what Commissioner Shanefield shared.
Thank you. Then I would be willing to make that motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the disbursement of the excess 2013 specific purpose tax.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. So the only action I need, all this has been dispersed. I just need to be able to get your approval to cut checks for disbursement to Memorial Hospital and Castle Rock Hospital District in those amounts that are specified on this memo you received. So $40,013.53 to Memorial Hospital and $5,219.22 to Castle Rock.
Mr. Chairman, I would change my motion to authorize the disbursement of checks to Castle Rock Hospital District and to Sweetwater Memorial for the amount specified by the treasurer.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Yeah, just if it's okay, I'd like to ask, this is the first time I've ever had to deal with the disbursement, and it's new to us. So John, Attorney DeLeon, are we in line with all statutes, requirements, and we're good that way legally? Okay. With that, good work, Joe.
He's the first guy I talked to. You kidding?
Right.
Okay, just got to check because this is a new process for me and I want to be on top of it and clear. So thank you.
I appreciate that.
Any further discussion or questions? Then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Excellent. Thank you, Joe. And I'm sure everybody will be happy to get a little money back instead of being asked for money. So that's.
Yeah, I hope
that's
so.
good. Tab F, resolution authorizing Sweetwater County to participate in the Wyoming Cooperative Liquid Assets Securities System, Wyoming Class Investment Pool. Joe, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad to be here again. So I think some of you are familiar already with Wyoming Class. They've made some presentations at Waco and to the County Commissioners Association at different times. Just as it said in your description there, it's an investment pool that's available to political subdivisions here in the state of Wyoming. In fact, I think both Rock Springs and the city of Green River participate in Wyo Class at this time. And their goal, of course, is to generate income, maintain liquidity, and preserve capital by investing only in the instruments authorized by the Wyoming state statutes and their own investment policy. So the same the same investment policies that we have to already adhere to as a county. And it's only available it's for these political subdivisions here, county, municipality, district, and any other that might exist. They have a board of trustees that provides oversight, and the members of that board are individuals who represent some of these different political subdivisions. They also offer a number of other services, sub accounts to keep track of how you want to keep track of monies easier, and easy transfers if there are other participants that regularly receive money from the county rather than go through the process of cutting a check or a clearinghouse. We could just transfer money within these accounts if we wanted to. That said, I don't think that any of the subdivisions that we send money to are participants, so I don't know that that's something we would utilize, but it's nice to know that it's there. And so really what I'm asking today for is just the approval of this resolution so that we can have them as an option for a depository in the future. I don't have any immediate plan to invest, but we'll talk to them about what they have to offer and see if it's right for Sweetwater County. But having this resolution then out of the way means that we can move forward when that time comes.
Thank you. A dollar amount that you're looking, or a percentage of our holdings, or?
Right now, I don't really have, Mr. Chairman, no, I don't have a specific plan right now for how much to invest. But as I have discussions with them about that, what might be right, then this piece is just out of the way. So I don't have to come back here and get the approval of the commission to have this as a depository for the county.
Thank you. Other questions for
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Yeah, Treasurer Barbuto, not on my game this morning yet. We'll get there. But hey, just kind of making sure have we participated with this in the past, or this be a new thing?
No, this would be new for Sweetwater County.
And I know that it's unfair to ask you a question about the history when you weren't there, but you know why we didn't participate in this program in the past? And yeah.
Yeah, I have talked to my predecessor, and actually, as he was preparing to leave, to retire, he was in discussions with Wyoming class about Sweetwater County becoming involved. I mean, it's fairly new compared to a lot of the different kind of investments we do. I can't remember what year it was established, but like a good treasurer should do, he sat back and watched and wanted to wait and see how they developed and grew. And so he never did take any action to make it a depository or make those investments, but he had those discussions. So he was familiar with Wyoming class as well, and just happened to sync up with the time he was retiring as well. So he never moved forward.
And have you reached out to any other municipalities or counties that use this system to see what their feelings have been?
Yeah, I have met with other county treasurers. Several other counties are involved. They've been pleased with the service. And then just in the last few months, I've had the opportunity to talk with the city clerks from both Green River and Rock Springs at a lunch meeting about their participation in the program. And I don't hold me to this. I think both of them are board members of Wyoming class as well. So they've been happy with the service and are glad to recommend it as well.
Thank you.
Other questions? Is this something that if you decide to do it, would need our approval, or does this cover doing it if you determine that that's the way to go?
Right. That's right, Mr. Chairman. If I were to determine it was the way to go, this is what would allow me to do it, just having it as an approved depository.
Thank you. And I visited with Troy at events a few times. And found him to be a good and genuine guy. So yeah, and he's supportive of our efforts as commissioners as well. So if that means anything.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Tillman.
I was on the investment advisory board when Cynthia Lummis was state treasurer, and that's when they finally got permission through the legislature to do this investing, the safe kind of investing. But it substantially increased the retirement accounts and some of those accounts by being able to invest instead of just doing the regular interest or bonding.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a very good thing, and I know they do it in a very safe way.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Toman. That's a very good point. And just as she said, all these per statute, the investments that they can make, that we can make, are the ones that I think we could consider stable and safe.
Other questions? Who moved that? Then what's your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I would be happy to make a motion to authorize, to approve the resolution authorizing Sweetwater County to participate in the Wyoming Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System Investments, the class pool.
Excellent job. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Thanks, Joe, and thanks for looking at that. It
Yeah.
looks like it could be something good, so.
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman. And if I do move forward with this, I'll be happy to let you folks know. But I think down the line, it might be good just for me to come here and talk more generally about the county's investments, where they're at right now and what we're doing. And of course, for all of you, but actually for any citizen of Sweetwater County who wants more information, they can always contact our office, talk to me, and that's all information that I'm glad and happy to share. So thank you.
Thank you. On to tab G, Vehicle Bid Awards with Marty Dernovich. Welcome, Marty.
Good morning, commissioners. How are we? Today I have before you in your packets, the vehicles that we bid for the use with the ARPA funds that you approved. And I'd like to do this a little differently because there is some recommendations per bid number. So I would like us, if it's okay with the chairman, to do the approvals based on each bid number.
Marty, what you say, I'm good with, so feel free.
Oh, well, then in that case, no, I'm just.
Go
kidding.
right ahead.
As you know, bid number 22-01 ARPA. This was for the county coroner's SUV. We did not receive any bids, unfortunately, so we would like to just table that. We'll rebid it when bid banks open up for that particular style of vehicle. So there's really nothing on that one you have to approve. On bid number 22-02 ARPA, this is also for our county coroner. It is kind of a specific type of a pickup. It's a 1/2 ton, so it's lower to the ground for the lifting of the gurney. But we also needed it to have the long wheelbase. Unfortunately, there's only one manufacturer that makes that, which is Ford. The truck did, and this is where things get a little confusing. The truck did come in higher than we anticipated. However, it is what it is. This is the type of truck they need. Unfortunately, with the amount of ARPA funds that the board approved for this particular vehicle, it'll be $7,000 short. Speaking with Christina, she just asked that through the motion, if the board does approve the purchase of this vehicle for $47,240, that you also make a motion to increase that from the ARPA funds. I will tell you, as we go through these, when we get down to the last couple, there is some savings of ARPA funds, so it's not really like we're really taking money out of the pot already, if that makes any sense. Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Marty,
Yes.
the total amount that we allocated for this purchase is going to still be greater than the total amount we're going to spend today. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Thank
So the board approved $54,598 for this particular vehicle. That included the topper that'll go on it,
Mhm.
the radio that goes in it. The radio's already been purchased. It's not here yet, but we do have it encumbered. That was $3,500. The topper right now is right at $10,000. So that
Okay,
is the
thank you.
shortfall. So with that, I'd ask the board to approve the bid. We received 2 bids on this particular truck. One from Fremont Motor and Landers for $47,339.76, and one from Griner Ford out of Casper for $47,240. I would recommend to the board that they approve from Griner Ford.
Thank you. Questions? What's your pleasure then?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wendling?
I would make a motion that we approve bid 22-02 ARPA half-ton four-door pickup for pickup provided by Fremont Motors of Lander. And
We're going, the-
pardon?
we're going the other way, correct? You, the one
You
with
said-
Casper,
Huh?
the Griner Ford of
Oh, you're
Casper.
going Griner, okay.
Yeah, a little bit less.
Oh, I see that. I was going with the bold numbers.
I'm sorry,
I know,
I'd
it
seen that
confused me
after I
too, so-
sent that. and went, oh, I missed that.
Right, I'd like to state that motion over again.
Thank you.
Like to make a motion to approve bid 22-02 ARPA half-ton four-door pickup for the coroner through Griner Ford of Casper at a cost of $47,240, and realizing that this purchase may be more than what was allowed, to allow the additional costs to come out of our ARPA money.
Thank you.
Does that work, Christina?
No, okay.
You want to max it at?
Well, we were gonna recommend 7,000.
Okay, with a max of $54,240.
Nice math. That. No,
No?
53,000, no, 54,000, yeah.
It's currently 54.
47.
So. Pardon me. Oh, it's 61,000.
Because
598.
we have approved 54 for
Yeah,
the whole package.
Okay, so
I see.
so we're
And so asking
shortfall
for
Certain Stuff
7,000.
like that.
Seven more than the
do
50.
you want to go to 61?
Yeah, 61,
Five.
598.
All right, so to increase that, not to,
Bless your heart, Doc. You.
I know, well,
I told you it was confusing today.
without with a maximum of the dollars being spent to $61,598.
98.
Did you get it, Sally? Ooh, well, might as well
Working
be.
today. You are working. That's good.
No wonder.
I hope they get easier, Marty. So that one's,
They will.
They
I know
will.
Marty.
They
all
will.
right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Thank you.
Okay, the next one in your packet is bid number 22-03 ARPA. This is for 6 patrol vehicles for our sheriff's department. Just to let you know, everyone's aware of the market that's currently going on and the supply chain. I have spoken to Casper, Griner Ford out of Casper. When they submitted this bid, when I sent the bids out, the dealers thought they would have their bid pricing in July. Unfortunately, the factories didn't get that to them. So we're still kind of waiting for that assistance, if you will. Speaking to Eric from Griner Ford, I said, do you think this is like carved in stone? This is the best we can get on this? He said, no, I think once they open the bid bank that we could possibly save a little money on these vehicles. So I spoke to Joe in the sheriff's department. We are recommending to the board that you reject this bid and we will rebid it when those bid banks open.
Questions? Do we need a motion to reject the bid?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lloyd,
Yeah, I'd make a motion to reject and reopen the bid of 22-03 ARPA 6 police utility vehicles for the sheriff. And like I said, we will reject that bid and rebid it.
thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, are you going to be able to keep driving?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you.
Commissioners, the same thing on bid number 22-04 ARPA, same scenario. We are also recommending that you reject this bid due to the cost, quite a bit over what we had budgeted for these 2 vehicles. So Same thing, we'll rebid those if the board would like when the bid bank's open.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lloyd?
As we just go through this, I just think it's good for public information is, I know we've talked about this in the past as we've made these purchases, and it sounds like we're buying a bunch of new sheriff's vehicles. And I think it's important to clarify the reason we're doing that is by getting ahead with the number of vehicles. And Marty is the purchasing person. Please make sure I'm right after I say this. But if we buy so many vehicles every few years, we can trade them in and almost get a 3 for $5 deal on the return. So that's why getting the number of vehicles up front using this is so important, because we're going to see long-term cost savings because of our ability to do resell at a different value, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shanefield Simpson?
Well, I'll make a motion to reject bid 2204 ARPA for 2 police package vehicles
Thank you.
and allow to rebid.
Thank you. I have a motion. Have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? No.
Commissioners, if you'd like, we could do this on the next 2. Bid number 22-07 ARPA. This was the pickup for purchasing for the delivery truck. And bid number 22-08 ARPA is 2 3/4 ton pickups for Road and Bridge. We are also asking that those be rejected. Those came in extremely higher than what was budgeted for, and talking to the different dealers, if we can get into the different bid bank openings, we could potentially save quite a bit. So we are asking that you reject both of those bids as well.
Thank you. I see the delivery day on the second one, 540 days.
Exactly.
Both of those. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Commissioners, questions?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I think
Commissioner Lloyd?
it's also important to point out not only the cost is extremely higher, the delivery days on these 2 trucks alone, the delivery days are over 540 days. I mean, so
Yes.
rebidding them, it's not like we're going to delay the process at this point. So I think that's important to point out. So.
Other questions? What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Lloyd?
I move that we reject and rebid bid number 2207 ARPA the 1 3/4 ton pickup for purchasing. And also bid number 22-08 ARPA a 2 3/4 ton pickup 4-door long box for Road and Bridge.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Carry
Um,
on, Marty.
The next one is bid number 22-09 ARPA. This was for the assessor, the county attorney's office, and one for the pool vehicle. These were a full-size SUV spec. Again, those prices came in way over what we had anticipated, and with the delivery and over budget, we are asking that you reject that particular bid. And then I'm going to jump ahead to another bid, the 22-12, after you decided whether you're rejecting this bid or not, and it'll clear that up as to why I'm asking you to reject that.
So jump ahead after we make.
Yes,
After we
correct.
take action. Questions? On the shifty and ever elusive Ms. Sternovich. What's your pleasure then, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to reject bid 22-09 ARPA for 3 full-size utility vehicles.
Thank you. A motion. Do we have a second?
I can second that.
Do we have further discussion? Then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
So if the board will allow me, I'd like to jump to bid number 22-12 ARPA. This was for 2 sport size SUVs for the pool. After the last bid and seeing the cost of those, I spoke with both the county attorney and to the county assessor. The county assessor feels that this size SUV will work for what he needs. And we have decided, the county attorneys would like something a little more beefier than this for his purposes. So with this, we would like to add, instead of 2 pool vehicles this size, after speaking with Gene and some of the others, these vehicles are used for traveling back and forth to Cheyenne or Casper or wherever people are going. And these are more fuel economy than the full-size SUV. So we feel that it'd be best spent of county dollars to buy 3 this size for the pool and then 1 for the assessor. We bid 2. I've spoken to the dealership. They will allow us to increase it by 2 only. So with that said, we are recommending to the board that you approve the bid 22-12 ARPA for 4 sport size SUVs to Fremont Chevrolet out of Riverton in the amount of $33,580 a unit for a total cost of $134,320.
Thank you. Questions? What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I approve
Appreciate that. Can we have a motion though?
the the purchase of 22-12 ARPA for 4 sport size SUVs for the pool and the assessor
From,
from Fremont Motor
thank you.
for $33,885 each.
33,580.
580? Oh, correct.
Excellent. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
And just to let the board know, this is where your savings is of roughly between the assessors and the pool vehicle, about $50,000.
Nice.
The last bid that we have before you is bid number 22-11 ARPA. This is for a full-size cargo van for the sheriff's department. We received 2 bids, one from Fremont Motor out of Lander and one from Griner Ford out of Casper. Fremont Motor out of Lander is the low bid at $46,391.64, and our recommendation is to approve this bid.
Thank you. Questions? Delivery date would be nice if it were the 20 weeks. We'll see. What's your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Wendling,
I make motion that we approve bid 22-11 ARPA for a full-size cargo van for the sheriff's office, purchasing it from Fremont Motor of Lander for a total cost of $46,391.64.
thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Thank you, Marty. I do wonder why there's no bid 22-10.
That was that was the boat, I believe.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Also, commissioners, just to get this on the books as well, with the way the bid banks are opening and closing so quickly on these rebids and they do, it's kind of hard to explain, but the bid banks might be open for pickups only, and they'll be open for, say, 3 weeks and then they close. I'm asking that the board allow me to, as the dealer, say, hey, Marty, the bid banks are open to bid the model of vehicles that we're looking for and accept those bids through the bidding procedures as we would. However, based on the county commission meetings and that, I am asking that the board allow me to open the bids, award to lowest, most reasonable bid. And then if it doesn't fall within the time frame of the closing of those orders prior to a commission meeting, that I'm allowed to award and ratify it at the next county commission meeting.
Any issues with giving that latitude?
Nothing at all. I think it's the right thing to do. Marty's proven over time that, can do these things and I don't know I would hate to see that wordy motion. That wordy motion be made. But
Right.
I would like to just say if it does take a motion that we authorize Marty to due to the extenuating circumstances of the bid pools that we authorize her to move forward at her best discretion and work with her contact person, liaison person, and allow those recommendations to be ratified at a following commissioners meeting. Does that help?
Yes.
I heard a motion in there. Is there a second?
I would second that.
Thank you. Discussion? All those in favor then say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no? Great. Thanks for the work, Marty.
Thank
Nice
you,
job.
Commissioners.
You guys.
Much appreciated. Tab H, request approval for the fiscal year 2022 interlocal agreement for the Justice Assistance Grant Program. We have Christina Marshall along with us. Happy August to you.
You as well.
Thank you.
I don't want the summer to end though,
Yeah.
and it's Fair Week, right? So we have, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we have 4 grant-related items right now to go through. Try to make it as easy as possible.
We always appreciate that.
So this first one, I would like to point out that I have Amanda Salazar, Sergeant from the Rock Springs Police Department, joining us via Zoom. So. I think she's here. Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Amanda.
So I'll begin. So the city of Rock Springs is eligible to apply for a justice assistance grant. Remember that JAG show from years ago? This is part of JAG. This funding, it must be used to prevent or reduce crime and violence. So JAG awards are actually based on a congressionally allocated funding based on population, national violent crime data. And it's first split at the state level and then split at the local level. So Sweetwater County is not eligible to receive JAG funding this year due to our crime data, which is not a bad thing. But as per the grant rules, this funding must be approved by Sweetwater County as a community partner. It's kind of like what you do with special purpose tax and so on. So the Rock Springs Police Department is proposing to use this funding to hire a consultant to review and update their policies according to case law. So this year they're allowed $11,765. As a note, this is a continuation of last year's project, which you did approve. I also talked to the sheriff's office. They have no issues with this project and they're fully supportive. And if approved, the grant funding would be awarded directly to the city of Rock Springs and would not be passed through to Sweetwater County. For your interest, I did provide the allocations statewide in case you were curious of the other counties that are getting this. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And as I mentioned, Amanda's online with us.
Questions, commissioners? Then what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2022 interlocal agreement for the Justice Assistance Grant Program and then authorize chairman to sign.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? And all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Thank you. Christina.
Okay.
Have I?
Okay. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, commissioners, and thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Amanda.
Have a great day.
You as well. Be safe.
Thank
All
you.
right. So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this next agenda item is the fiscal year 2023 Services to Victims of Crime Grant Award. I'd like to point out that our Chief Deputy, Teresa Tybos, here with us, representing the project. So Sweetwater County was awarded $93,976 in federal and state funding from the Wyoming Division of Victim Services under the Office of Attorney General. So the purpose of this funding is to provide services to victims of crime in the community. So some examples are to provide support and community referrals, assist victims with filing for compensation, provide information about cases and court procedures, accompany witnesses and victims to court, and act as a liaison with the criminal justice system. So I realize you see this type of wording, which is kind of boilerplate, kind of boring. And in a sad way, I wanted to give you some information of how you approving these grants applies to real world. So unfortunately, recently, Green River experienced a tragedy with a shooting. I contacted the victim witness coordinators to see how they were involved. And I just want to take a second to recognize how important this is as opposed to just reading what we could do with the funding. So there is some narrative I want to maybe keep confidential, but publicly on the following Monday after the shooting is what I'm referring to. This victim witness coordinator made contact with the Division of Victim Services and ensured that they would cover mental health expenses for the witnesses in the bar. There were a total of 9 people. This person has made contact with each one of them and has submitted multiple applications, including one secondary victim application for a child getting grief counseling. She had assisted one gentleman in finding a counselor who does EMDR, which is a specialized type of counseling, and also arranged for that provider to accept the payment from DVS. They've also reached out to do debriefing with the Green River Police Department. And they're also assisting in getting funding for funeral expenses, medical bills, and so on. So I just wanted to deviate from my boring write-ups to let you know what's going on. But so this grant actually covers most of the salaries for 2 part-time victim witness coordinator positions who work with one permanent funded county victim witness coordinator under the attorney's office. So together they enforce the Wyoming's Bill of Rights in Sweetwater County. And in fiscal year 2021, they served 1,205 unduplicated victims and provided 9,905 services. So the total award again is $93,976 for 2 part-time victim witness coordinators. There is a county overage portion of $25,014. And also I'm requesting $1,288 in county overage for a VS tracking software, which is required for victim reporting and the case management. So the county's total cost would be $26,302, which represents 22% of the total budget. So some final notes. This shortfall was already included in the fiscal year 23 budget. It also consists of $465.85 from July's payroll under the last year's grant, which was impacted when you generously approved a 6% COLA. And there's also cost increases to the software. And just a reminder, back in fiscal year 2021, one full-time county funded victim witness coordinator position was eliminated. And we see this award of $93,976 is a huge success. I was actually anticipating half that amount. So we worked very, very hard on this application and we're very pleased. So enough of me. I have Teresa, if you have any questions for her or anything else for me.
Thank you. Thanks for pointing out there's real people behind these grants and these really do help and hopefully help people's lives.
Mhm.
So much appreciated. Questions? And what is your pleasure regarding the Services to Victims of Crime Grant Award?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wendling.
Yeah, I'll move to approve and authorize chairman to sign the fiscal year 2023 Services to Victims of Crime Grant Award documents.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I just want to say thank you to the county attorney's office and Christina for working so hard to continue to get this grant. It really does make a difference, and it makes a difference to victims of all crimes across our community and our county. And it also helps the county attorney's office successfully prosecute crimes as well by including victims in the process. So, thank you.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the work. Carry on.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, third item, and I'd like to point out, we have representation of the sheriff and the lieutenant with us. So Sweetwater County was awarded $25,100 in federal funding from the Wyoming Office of Homeland Security. It must be expended by September 30th, 2023, and requires a 50% project match. So the purpose of this funding is to assist local governments in preparing for all hazards. The funding will be used to purchase yet another vehicle so that emergency management, the coordinator can carry out the responsibilities of EMPG, that stands for Emergency Management Performance Grant Program, and specifically to strengthen national preparedness and resilience. So we're looking at a 3/4 ton pickup, including a radio and equipment. A few notes. So the new vehicle will replace an unreliable handed down 2006 Ford Explorer with 137,500 miles, which recently had a major breakdown. And just to be clear, it cannot be shared with other departments. Its sole purpose is emergency management. The actual vehicle was not included in the emergency management's budget. There was no supplanting, and the county's match was included in the fiscal year 23 budget. In fiscal year 2022, one full-time position was eliminated in the emergency management division. And so we anticipate that this person will be out in the field a significant amount of time. On a personal note, when we worked on this grant, I put this person a lot to task, as well as our lieutenant, asking a lot of questions about compliance and transition. I cannot say enough. They answered every question, provided me every document with no problem. You're getting used to ARPA. We're going to be hearing ARPA galore for the next 5 years. I want to be very clear. This is not the county's ARPA recovery money. This is another floating pot of ARPA money, which you're well aware there's a lot of different money. We met, we decided, let's go for it, and we were successful. So we're very pleased. But with that, the sheriff's office is here in case they want to add anything, and I'm happy to answer any other questions. So
Thank you. Questions? Then what is your pleasure, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I'll make a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the fiscal year 2021 EMPG ARPA grant award documents as presented.
Is it really the fiscal year 2021?
and Mr. Chairman, I appreciate that you think I have typos, but they're
No,
not.
no.
It's
Okay.
when
No,
Congress
I know there's
allocated
not
the
a
money.
typo.
Okay.
I know, and I don't like writing it, but it's a specific contract. So
Like, this is wrong.
so Commissioner Shanfield is absolutely correct.
Thank you. I had no doubts. It was all about
Oh, no.
me and doubting myself. So we have a motion. Do we have a second on the
Second.
fiscal year 2021 grant? We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Thank you. Doubting you. I'm not doubting
No.
you.
Please do.
Tab K.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is the last item, and I'd like to note that our Public Works Director has joined us, I believe, via Zoom. So the Public Works Department is requesting permission to submit a fiscal year 23 Cmac grant application to the Wyoming Department of Transportation to apply magnesium chloride dust suppressant to various county roads. As a reminder, Cmac stands for Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality. So the purpose of this federal funding is to alleviate air quality issues created by energy development and other industrial activity in our area. So these projects require a 20% cash match and must be completed by December 31st, 2025. So as a note for the project, it's very similar to last year's roads, in which I have provided what Gene prepared. He prepared this application of 103.9 miles of different various roads for the application. As a note, Public Works Director Gene Legursky is requesting 10% more than before due to, as we are seeing, increasing prices. And there are 5 documents to sign for this grant application. And I will defer to Gene if he'd like to add anything else.
Morning, Gene.
Morning. I don't have anything unless you guys have questions of me.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wendling.
Yeah, Mr. Legursky, the match money will come out of your road fund?
Grants.
Grants, thank you.
Cmac.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Then what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I'll make a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the fiscal year 2023 Cmac GRAP application documents as presented.
Fiscal year 23. All right. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Well
Thank you,
done. Much
Christina.
appreciated.
Have a good day.
On to tab L. The sign for Sweetwater Square. Mr. Legursky and
Mr. Chairman, thank you. What you have before you is a request from the URA to be able to put a wayfinding sign down on the generator enclosure at the HHS building for Sweetwater Square. I know originally when we discussed this, we didn't think there would be a plaque or anything like that, but in talking to Mr. Banks with the URA, he thinks it'd be a good idea. It'd be approximately a 4-foot by 8-foot sign as detailed on the sheet that I sent out on Friday, completely paid for by the URA. We would help them install that in the correct location and make sure the anchoring is correct.
free's not bad, is it? It's not bad.
Free's never bad unless it damages something.
That's true. Unless it costs you. Then it's not so free.
You'll be there to make sure nothing gets damaged, right?
Somebody with our staff will be there, correct?
Good.
Other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
not a question. I just wanted to give kudos and say thank you for working with the downtown and all of us working together for this. This is what we need in our community, and I'm excited about the wayfinding signs as well. I think more of that in our community lets people know that we are working together and we do have awesome locations to visit.
Thank you. Other comments, questions? Then what is your pleasure regarding our sign for Sweetwater Square?
So move to install.
I think you have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? No. Excellent.
Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, yeah. And I love the rendition you did. That was great to see it out there.
Hopefully they hang it a little bit straighter than I did on that rendition.
Maybe, yeah. Good point. Tab M, ratifying the Ashley National Forest grazing guidelines language for plan revision from Commissioner Toman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we need executive session only if we have questions or discussion because it is pre-decisional. If not, you have all received the letter and we need a motion to ratify the comments submitted on behalf of Sweetwater County by the Coalition of Local Governments. So it's your choice.
Thank you. Is there any discussion that needs to happen regarding the letter that was distributed? And I found it interesting. I obviously won't talk details, but I learned some things from it. So thank you. Any questions or need for this in executive session?
If
Then-
not, I'd make a motion to ratify the comments submitted to the Ashley National Forest regarding the grazing guidelines.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Excellent. I feel like I've been saying that an awful lot today.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's good. We are scheduled for a break before we have executive session. Let's do that. 10, 15 minutes. What would you like? Okay, we will come back at 10 till. So 9:50, we will return in about 14 minutes.
You want to go to executive first?
Oh, yeah, we should move into executive first. Let's do that. I'll take a motion to move into executive
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. There we go. See you back at 10 minutes till.